Good afternoon, folks, and welcome back to today's edition of the Strictly Muscles Chronicles. My name is Martin. I'm a personal trainer, nutrition coach, and muscle activation technique specialist in Chicago. And I've put together the Chronicles to provide exercise, nutrition, and mindset practices to help us persevere well during the COVID-19 pandemic. My purpose is to guide people to more resilient mental and physical lives. And I feel that nutritious eating, appropriate exercise, and healthy habits are all part of living a life of purpose and resilience. Just wanted to send a quick note out to my friend Michelle. She had a birthday yesterday, and I hope Dan and Willa spoiled you a ton on your birthday. Our nutrition skill to develop this week is really dialing into our portion control, okay? And the tool that I shared with everybody that everybody has is using your palm or your hand to dictate your nutrient portion sizes. So as a review, we have our palm is going to be your proteins. Your fist is going to be your vegetables. A cupped hand is going to be your carbohydrates. And your thumb is going to be your fats. During the week, think of this as a way to work along a continuum. So depending where you are right now in your ability to do this, start with as easy as possible, or start with what you can do on your worst day. Some recommendations for that are pick one meal, pick one nutrient to use your hand to dictate the portion. All the way to the other end of the continuum was where you're doing multiple meals, where you're using your hand to determine protein, vegetable, carbohydrate, and fat sizes. Let's stack this habit onto things we've done already. Let's go and add it to your journal or your calendar. A way to do that is to use your phone, take a picture of it. That way you know when you project yourself out 2 weeks from now and you're a rock star with this skill, is you can go back to April 8th and go, well, what did I have for my dinner? Well, it looks like I just did my protein was my portion. Okay, so go ahead and now 2 weeks after, wow, I can do the whole meal using my hand. Another way to implement this is to eat what you're eating right now. Don't get too worried about proteins, vegetables, carbohydrates, and fat. Let's go ahead and just focus, what are you eating, but use your hand to determine your portions. If you have questions, or if you want a handout of this, of the hand size portion control, go ahead and reach out to me. I'll put the link in the description, and I'll be happy to share that with you. That way you can have something tangible. If you're like me, a visual person, you'll have that tangible, and it's available for you at all times when you go to prepare your meals and to eat. Time for exercise. Going back to the shoulders today. So we're actually going to do this exercise. A lot of times it's called, side lateral. Anytime you're working with the shoulders, though, it gets complicated. So I've struggled with how to present this today, but yet make it doable for everybody. I thought the biggest way that, when we set our capabilities, we're looking at, okay, what are our joint capabilities? Can I even do this? And that covers your path of motion as well. So we get two things covered there. But I thought we'd use Walter here to show us what this looks like. So by doing this, I'm moving out and in from my side. I'm setting that based off the angle of my shoulder blade. So as you can see here, my back is going this way, but my shoulder blade on him is going that way. So that's happening in your body as well. So a way for you to assess this is you're standing there, just feel for that spine of your shoulder blade, and that'll tell you what direction your side lateral is. So if I were here, my shoulder blade, this point right here, is pointing that way. So for me, a side lateral is something like that. Rather than, oh, I'm going straight out to the side, now that's kind of like taking my arm back here, which may not always be the best thing or feel the best. So that's something for setup to think about. Okay, so thank you all. Sorry, social distancing, but he did practice pretty good. I'm at fault there. Now, for our position, what we're going to do is a standing position. And our load and our load placement, those are the two things I want to talk about. So you have your tubes at home. I'm going to go ahead and use in this situation, the lighter tube. And what I want to do is talk about differences between having it in your hand versus most of my clients that I work with in person know that a lot of times I'll have it up at your elbow. The biggest thing there is that you're stepping on this, and I pull this up, and I measured this, how much resistance this was right here for me using my fish scale, 7 pounds. Now, 7 pounds times the distance from that tube to my shoulder that's 22 inches, 20 inches we'll say. So that's about 140 pounds that my muscles have to come up, generate to move this at the top. So what I do, that can be a little challenging for some people's shoulders. So a way to make this the same exercise, but cut that distance in half, so now your muscles, I'm working, now what is that, 70 pounds of force coming up, but I'm still getting a good challenge here, is I put that at my elbow. So all I did, keep my elbow bent, putting the tube here, and I'm doing the same exercise based off what we just talked about, where that shoulder blade moves, and I'm coming up and down. Okay, so now in terms of how to make this a little bit more difficult or setting this up, when I was doing it this way right here, when I'm down at this angle, there's no resistance to the shoulders. When I come up here, you have all the resistance, almost 90 degrees really. So a way to make this exercise where you have challenge from the bottom to the top is to take your tube and cross it over. Take it through, put it up at your elbows, and now I have a little lean forward, and I'm moving outward and inward. And I'm basing that off my shoulder blade position, so it should look like I'm coming slightly forward for you. And now, this one, I'm getting a little tension on the outside of my shoulder the whole time, this being the hardest, but still having some right here. So, take that exercise, take your tubes, implement that, see what feels good for you. If you want any help with this, please reach out to me at strictlymuscles.net, and we can work together to create a customized client-defined program. I only have a couple spots left available right now. So reach out to me in the next week before those 2 spots get filled, and we can work together. For mindset, the last couple of days we've been talking about finding your purpose. Hopefully it at least got the mental juices going to think about it. I shared a resource for you to look at yesterday and see if that'll kickstart you a little bit. But I wanted to switch gears up a little bit today regarding something that was actually presented to me last week, and I'm part of a daily stoicism challenge. And on the very first day of it, it was talking about being physically active during this time. So, obviously I talk about that. But one of the supplemental articles in there talked about this difference between social distancing and physical distancing. And it really made me think, my experience with this over the last 3 weeks has been just that. Like, I'm way more social than I had been in the past. Yeah, I'm not being able to work out with people or train people in person, but I sure as heck am keeping up with them via phone, via Zoom sessions, whatever I can. I'm writing letters. So whatever it takes, you're still being social. And this article, I wanted to share it with you. It was blog.strava.com, and I'll put that link in the description. And the name of it is How to Approach Being Active During the COVID-19 Crisis. So the quote that I thought was pretty cool for you, and you can apply it to, see if you find any value in it as well, is by this Dr. Megan Roche. She said, let's see, but it's also a remarkable opportunity to support each other in our shared experiences. Think about it as practicing physical distancing as opposed to social distancing. Be extra engaged when you can. Call your running buddies. Support local businesses online, or tell someone you care about them. Every little action makes a difference as a collective community. Again, it's just a tomato thing, but I look at it as we're not being social distancing. We're being very social right now, but we definitely should keep some distance away from each other physically. hopefully to get back to work as soon as possible and return to as much normalcy as we can. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.